The fog rolling in off the Humber didn't just blur the streetlights of Hull, it seemed to swallow them whole. PC Marcus Thorne pulled his high-vis jacket tighter against the damp chill, his breath pluming white in the air near the deep aquarium. It was 2018, and the city was knee-deep in a mystery that was driving the local press frantic. 3 people in as many weeks had vanished without a trace from the Docklands. No bodies, no struggle, no CCTV footage beyond the sudden jarring moment where the frame flickered and the pedestrian simply wasn't there anymore. Just a strange, musky stench left behind, like wet dog mixed with copper. Marcus checked his notebook. Case 409, Arthur Pendleton, 54. Last seen near Victoria Dock, Tuesday midnight. Arthur hadn't been a drifter. He was a creature of habit, walking his terrier, Buster. Buster had been found cowering beneath a bench 3 hours after Arthur went missing. The leash was bitten clean through, not snapped, bitten. The local vet had shaken his head, staring at the shredded nylon and the deep, heavy gouges in the metal bench leg. Not a dog, the vet had muttered. Too much jaw pressure, like a hydraulic press. Marcus walked the perimeter of the dark water, shining his torch beam into the inky blackness of the river. Looking for him, officer? Marcus jumped, his hand instinctively dropping to his belt. An old man sat on a crate near the slipway, huddled in a moth-eaten wool coat, wrapped in a blanket, despite the mild autumn. It was Arthur's neighbour, a retired docker named Billy, who spent his nights drinking lukewarm tea from a thermos. Billy, you shouldn't be down here. It's a restricted zone while the search is active. Billy didn't move. His rheumy eyes reflected the amber glow of the dock lights. You won't find him, son. Not in the water. Not in this world. Marcus sighed, stepping closer. You know something? I know what my granddad told me, Billy rasped, taking a slow sip from his flask. And his granddad before him. You think Hull is just brick, mortar and fish. You think the old stories die just 'cause they paved over the marshes. Marcus crossed his arms. You're talking about Old Stinker. The old Yorkshire legend hung heavy in the air between them. A phantom beast, 7 feet tall, with glowing eyes and the pelt of a mangy hound, said to stalk the abandoned railway lines and docks of Kingston upon Hull, supposedly sighted as recently as the 60s near Brough. Laugh if you want, Billy whispered, leaning forward, the smell of stale tobacco rolling off him. They laughed at the factory workers who heard the heavy pads on the gravel in 62. They laughed when livestock turned up inside out in the marshes. But Arthur? Arthur was out past midnight, and he didn't just vanish. He walked right into the shadow of the old flour mill. People run away, Billy. People fall in the river. Did people leave behind paw prints the size of dinner plates, pressed so deep into the concrete they had to jackhammer 'em out on Wednesday? Billy's voice dropped to a harsh gravel. Did the Coast Guard find wool from Arthur's coat, snagged 12 feet up a brick wall? Since when do men climb brick walls like cats? Marcus. Marcus felt a cold prickle at the base of his neck, completely unrelated to the river fog. He remembered the crime scene photos from Arthur's disappearance, the way the forensic team had whispered among themselves, the unnatural height of the disturbance on the wall. "It's a hoax," Marcus said, though his voice lacked conviction. "Or a stray bear from a private collection. There ain't been a bear in East Yorkshire since the Stuarts," Billy scoffed, looking out over the dark, churning water of the Humber. "Old Stinker don't hunt for malice. He hunts 'cause this is his patch. The Victorians built over his hunting grounds, but every 50 years or so, he gets hungry." Suddenly, a sound cut through the silence of the docks. It wasn't the gull's cry, nor the distant drone of a ship's horn. It was a deep, guttural exhalation, a heavy puff of hot air that sounded less like an animal and more like a bellows, followed unmistakably by the wet, rhythmic padding of enormous paws on asphalt. Pad, pad, pause. Billy didn't flinch. He just pulled his blanket tighter and stared straight ahead. Marcus slowly unclipped the strap of his baton, turning his flashlight toward the yawning, shadow-drenched alleyway between the abandoned warehouses. The beam cut through the mist, illuminating floating dust motes, and then, for a fraction of a second, two amber reflections, wide apart and impossibly high off the ground, blinked from the dark. A low, vibrating growl rattled the fillings in Marcus's teeth. "Keep walking, officer," Billy muttered softly, "and whatever you do, don't look behind you." Marcus didn't, but as he turned and practically dragged Billy toward the safety of the patrol car, the heavy scent of copper and wet fur followed them all the way to the main road, right on their heels.